Well, howdy everybody, and welcome to video 5. We are talking today again about my book From Debtor to Better, the details of debt and how to get out. As I've said in all the videos, you don't have to have the book to be following along, although it is a helpful companion and it is available on Amazon if you want it. Last time we were talking about an emergency fund. We were talking about how the only way you can break the habit of being in debt is to have a sum of money that you can use if something happens, and it will, to keep you out of going, or keep you from going back into debt. There we go. So I gave you 2 pieces of homework. Number 1 was to write down 5 ways to start your emergency fund in the next 2 weeks. What could you do to pile up the cash that you need to get started there? Obviously, keep it legal and all that kind of good stuff. But then the second thing I ask you to do is to pray for protection and guidance as you commit to improving your financial situation, because the moment that you say, I'm going to do this, I'm pumped up, and you're just dedicated and focused and energetic, something's going to happen. So pray for protection and pray for wisdom as you get down that path, because guess what? You can still win even if something gets thrown in your way, okay? A barricade is just something to either knock down or go around, okay? So today we're going to talk about the key to making this whole thing work. All right, we have to understand the title of this book is From Debtor to Better. So the point is, right now you may be in debt, and right now your finances are not all that good, and we're trying to make them better. Now we're going to aim for perfect so we can achieve better. But I also understand we're never going to reach perfect. If we were perfect, then we wouldn't be us, we would be God. Okay? So keep this in mind. The key to making this whole thing work is one word. It's one word we don't like. It's one word that's even in the Bible as a thing that we don't like. But guess what? The key word is discipline. Discipline is the thing that's going to make this work. Your finances or whatever else it is, discipline is required, because that's what bridges the gap. That's what takes us from I want to I will. When you become disciplined, motivated, and actually will stick to something, when you have the discipline to do it, you will accomplish things, all right? That's a big, scary word. In fact, Hebrews chapter 12, if you're one of those people who likes to look into Scripture, look up Hebrews 12 and read a little bit about what it says about discipline. It talks about that nobody likes it at the time, but it does reap reward. Okay, I'm paraphrasing, but read Hebrews 12 and see what you think about the idea of discipline. None of us love it when it's happening, but it does present results. It proves out that it's worth it. Okay? Now, I'm talking about discipline in our finances. You can take some of this and apply it other places, but I want to talk specifically about money today because, well, that's what we're talking about, okay? But keep in mind, you can apply this in a lot of other areas in your life. So here's the problem, and this is true in a lot of areas. We're lazy. Notice I'm saying we are lazy. We don't want to behave with our finances because it's just something else we have to do, and we would rather be lazy. I mean, there's no other word for it. Well, I'm not lazy. Yes, you are. Okay, you may not be lazy about one thing, but you are lazy about another thing. For you, it might not be your finances. Instead, it's about food, or instead, it's about exercise, or instead, it's about keeping your house clean. The point is, we're all lazy on something. We have to have the discipline to not be lazy with our finances if we want to win. So let me give you an example. I've got this in the book, and I've got a little bit more information on it in the book, but let me give you a summary of it. Let's say that today we sit down and I say, all right, I'm going to give you $100,000 5 years from today. I'm going to give it to you, $100,000 5 years from today. Well, your ears are going to perk up. You're going to pay attention. What do I have to do? What's involved? Where's the catch? Okay, let me give you 2 things that I would require of you. Number 1, you need to come up with at least $10,000 in hand, in cash, in the next 90 days. And number 2, you cannot borrow or steal to get it. Now, let me also put in a caveat. I'm not actually doing this. This is an example, okay? So don't be coming to me and saying, I got 10,000, where's my 100? No, 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 no. The point is, I want you to think about it. Remember, we're talking discipline. I say I'll give you $100,000 5 years from today, no strings attached, assuming you can do 2 things. 1, come up with $10,000 cash in 90 days. You don't have to give it to me. Just come up with the money and prove you have it. Number 2, you can't borrow or steal to get it. Those are the qualifications. Well, guess what? For someone who really wants the money, they're going to do that. They're going to figure it out. They're going to sell something. They're going to work extra hours. They're going to do something. $10,000 is a lot of money, but it's not out of reach within a 3-month time frame if you really set your mind to it for most people. So 95% of you could do that. There are a few that couldn't, but most of you could. And for $100,000, that's a pretty darn good return in 5 years. I'll sign up for that deal any day of the week, especially when I don't even have to give you $10,000. I just have to come up with it. That's the way you look at discipline. You say, I'm going to focus my energy, my effort, and my desire on accomplishing something right now, even though it may not be fun, for a short period of time to reap the harvest later. So for 90 days, I might be head down doing nothing but work. But at the end of that 90 days, I've got the $10,000 that I've earned to prove that I'm ready, and I'll just sit back for 5 years and wait. But guess what? The discipline was required during that 90-day period. Let's look at it another way. What you are doing is you are prioritizing. You're picking what's important. And when you have discipline, you are saying, my money is important enough that I'm going to focus my efforts and energy on it. So let's go with another example that's a little more realistic for all of us. Okay, let's say that, guess what, times are a little tight. And I don't know the size of your family, but I've got 4 kids, so there are 6 mouths to feed if you count mine. And that means that grocery budget is pretty high for us versus somebody who has 1 or 2 people. But guess what? This example works for any of us. I'm going to give you $100, and I'm going to take you to the grocery store, and I'm going to tell you this is all the money you have to spend on food for the next 2 weeks. Doesn't matter your family size, doesn't matter any other considerations. You can walk out with $100 worth of groceries, nothing more, and it has to last you 2 weeks. Now, if you're single and you only feed yourself, you're like, okay. For my family of 6, that would be a heck of a challenge, but guess what? What I'm going to do to accomplish that is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, okay, as I go in, what do I need to focus on? I need to make sure that I spend the money on the things that will provide calories, not expensive. So I'm going to get some beans and some rice and some things that are less expensive, some spaghetti noodles, some stuff that I can make good meals with that don't cost a whole lot of money. I'm going to prioritize and pick what is important with that $100 versus what I would have normally done, which is, for most of us, you walk in the store, you're like, that looks good, pull it off the shelf. Well, that looks good, and pull it off the shelf. And you get to the cash register, you're like, holy crap, how did I spend that much money? We didn't have discipline. We were lazy at the grocery store, right? Same example. It's you are focusing your energy for a short period of time so that financially you win in the long term. Now, that's a really simple set of examples, but guess what? That's all discipline is. It is focusing your energy and your efforts now to reap the rewards in the future. That's it. It's not more complicated than that. So, you will not change the math of your situation until you change your behavior. So let me give you the math. This is really complicated, okay? Super complicated. Are you ready? Here's the math of personal finance. Income minus savings minus expenses equals 0. You can only save or spend money. There's nothing else you can do with it. So income, that's money that you get. You can either save it or you can spend it. So income minus savings minus expenses equals 0. There's nothing else you can do with your money. Don't make this complicated, all right? That's all there is. But the behavior is how you change that math formula into your advantage. That's how you switch things around from saying I don't make enough money to saying there's abundance. That's how you switch it around to saying I can't save to there's plenty of money for me to save. It's all about instilling the discipline, which starts right here. Okay, think about that for a second. Your discipline starts right here. When I get up in the morning and decide to go downstairs and get on our treadmill because, doggone it, I need the exercise, it starts right here. When the alarm goes off, I have to decide it's time to get up and move. But you know what? Under those covers, it's nice and warm and cozy. It's wonderful and cozy, and I'm happy. But guess what? Discipline is required. The short-term decision to get up, get out of the bed, and get moving is why I always feel better afterward. Always. And the same thing goes for your finances. Change your mindset, and you can change your behavior. And that's what will drive the discipline. Okay? So, how? It's not fair of me to say, well, go change your behaviors and not tell you a little bit about how. In the next video, we are going to talk a lot more about this, but really the answer is, the simple answer is to do a budget. make your money behave. Now, we treat budget like it's a dirty word, like it's this filthy, nasty 4-letter word. Oh my gosh, did you hear the word he just said? No. There's a lot to a budget, and a budget has a negative connotation, but that is the simplest way you can make your money behave. And we'll talk more about that in the next video, but that's the easiest way that you can create and instill discipline in your finances, to do a budget. I'll give you all the details you need and lay all that out for you in the next few videos. But for now, I want to give you a little bit of homework as you prepare for that step, because most of us don't think we are lazy. Most of us won't admit we are lazy, but I promise we all are. When it comes to our money, we can't be lazy if we want to win. We have to have what? Discipline. So, homework. Well, in fact, let me have you be more specific. I want you to list 5 ways that today you could instill more discipline in your finances. And I'm going to give you some examples. Let's keep this simple. 5 ways you could instill more discipline in your finances. An example, use cash. Cash is instant discipline. If you walk into the grocery store with a $100 bill, you either walk out with $100 or less worth of groceries, or the risk of a felony conviction because you stole a bunch of stuff. It's instant discipline. Another example, shop less often. If you don't go to the store or log on to Amazon or wherever you might happen to shop all the time, you won't spend money. Another example, unsubscribe from a bunch of those emails that you get that say, save now. Guess what? I did that today with a couple of emails that came in my inbox because I don't need that stuff. Instant discipline. The last one I'll give you as just an example, cancel any unnecessary bills. Now, we'll talk more about that a little later, but are there certain bills that you just pay them because they show up in the mail? You just, oh, here's a bill, I'll pay it. And you never consider, is it something I need? Is it something that I actually should bother with? Is it something that provides value to me or adds value to my life? If not, why are you paying that bill? Why do you have that bill? There's some simple things that I will give you as examples, but there's your homework. What are 5 things that you can do today to instill more discipline in your finances? The second part of that homework, and it's even before we get into doing budgeting, is this. Do it. If you can write them down, if you can say, well, if I did this, I would instill more discipline in my finances. Okay, write it down, then do it. Remember, the change starts here. And when you put it into action, when it becomes a behavior and you develop a habit, it becomes easier and more natural, and that is where discipline pays off. So I hope that helps. I hope you've had fun. And tomorrow or whenever I happen to get back on here, when we talk again, we are going to talk about the big scary B word, budgets. So tune in. We'll talk then. And until then, take care, have fun, and you've got this. You can do it.